Hello everyone, my name is Nachiketa and welcome back to another video. In this video I'm going to show you how to implement a deep learning based face detection model to run on any sort of images or any sort of videos or in live streams as well. So I've already made few videos on face detection using OpenCV, but that was using hard cascade libraries, and this one is way more accurate when it comes to the detection that it makes, and is also not computationally expensive, which means it's gonna run in real time as well, which I'm gonna demonstrate very shortly. So without wasting much time, let's just straight away get into the code and let me show you how you can get this project running very quickly. So this is the folder that I'm working in, and these are the files. These are all the files that you need. We have a sample image over here. We have two different Python scripts. One is for images, one is for videos, and both of them are very similar. In just the video script, we're just going to be iterating over a lot of frames. That's the only difference. We have two model files over here, and this is the only thing that you need to understand. So you have something called as the deploy.prototxt.txt. This basically is the architecture of the model that you're going to use. This is a SSD model, a single shot detector, which is using ResNet as a backbone. So this is the model that we'll be working with. If you want to see the architecture, you can click this txt file, and it contains the architecture of the model that we are going to be using. Alright, so it will tell you how many convolution layers there are, how many filters there are per layer, how many kernel size, what's the kernel size that they're using. So you can find all that information over here. This file with the extension of .caffe model, this basically contains the model weights, which has learned already on lots of images, and OpenCV team has basically made available the weights of the model and the architecture of the model, so that we can use it directly without having to do any of the training process for deep learning models. So this is also a sample image that I'm going to be testing the model on, and I'm also going to be running this model on live stream from my web camera and see how the detections are in real time. So let's first start with the code of detect faces.py. I'm going to provide all this code in the link of this video. You can check it out from there. But first let's focus on understanding the code really well, so that you can make changes wherever you want to based on your requirement. So we're first going to be importing certain packages that we need, and the first step is to take some arguments from the user based on how he wants to use the model. For example, you have to provide the input image. Over here you have to provide the path to the proto.txt file, which is the model architecture. You also have to provide an argument of course the model weights, and all this is set as required true because this is compulsory before we run the script. We also provide something called as the confidence. So whenever the model makes a prediction of a face, that the model thinks that this particular box, let's say, contains a face, it's going to give you confidence that I'm only 50% sure or I'm only 80% sure that this is a face. So that's the confidence that we're going to be giving. Based on that, we can filter out weak and strong detections. So over here we are passing all the arguments, and what we're doing is we are basically creating a named window called as output, and we set the size as normal. It basically creates a standard sized window for us, which we can easily resize using our cursor. Next step is to load our model architecture and weights. So we do that using the CV2 library, and we use the dnn.readnet from caffe function, which basically takes arguments as a model architecture of a deep learning model, and also takes the model weights. So that gets stored as net. The next step is that we have loaded the model, we have to provide the image. Before directly providing the image, we have to do some processing. So basically we are first gonna be reading the image over here, and we're fetching the height and width of the image, and basically gonna resize it using blob from image. The reason it's required is because the original ResNet model would have been trained on a certain size of image. So in this case, it was trained on 300 cross 300 images, and it was also normalized by using certain mean and standard deviations, and we also are gonna pre-process it the exact same way to get the best results. So that is what we're doing over here, and all this information right now we are hard coding it, but this can vary according to the model that you're using, and you'll always find it on the documentation of the original model. So OpenCV teams puts out this whenever they're publishing a new model, so that's where you can get it from. The next thing is, of course, to give the image to the model now that we have processed it correctly. So we first write net.set input, which sets the blob that we just processed as the input. To actually run it through the model to start computation on the image, we write the function net.forward. So this provides the image to the model and it will give you the output and store it in detections. So if there is one image, let's say there are 10 faces in it, it's going to give you 10 detections. So now we're going to be iterating through all those detections and plot the bounding boxes around those faces so it's visible really clearly. So basically we are going to be looping through all the detections. So detections is an object which contains a lot of parameters inside of it. If we fetch detections.shape and get the third index of it, it will give you the number of detections. So we iterate through all of that, and you can't automatically guess this. This is something you have to know by reading the documentation or by working on various models. So for each detection that we get, we are fetching the confidence, which is stored in the third index of detections. Right? So this can be slightly confusing. The only indexing and all is something that you have to learn, and you can get that easily by open source documentations. Just understand that if we slice the detection like this, then it's gonna give us the confidence. And whenever the confidence is greater than the confidence that we had initially given as the argument, so initially let's say it was 50%. So whenever it's sure about a face and it says that this has a probability of more than 50% of being a face, only then we're gonna draw a box around it. So to draw the box, first we need to fetch the coordinates, which we do using here, and for each detection we are fetching the coordinates which are stored from 3 to 7 index. So between 3 to 7 index, it will always contain the x and y value of the two diagonals. So it will contain x minimum, y minimum, and x maximum and y maximum of any given box. Again, this is something that you should not know by default. This is something you get to know by reading the documentation. They clearly specify that in what format the model output is gonna come. So when you write this line, it's gonna give you the xy coordinates of the two opposite points of a box that it has drawn. But the catch is, once you simply fetch the coordinates, it's normally in a scale of 0 to 1. It's normalized. So we have to rescale it back to fit the original image. So we multiply it by the weight and height respectively. Right? We multiply the x coordinate by the weight and the y coordinate by the height. So over here we convert the x and y coordinates into integers, and over here just a little bit of CV2 inbuilt functions to first of all draw a rectangle based on the coordinates that we had given, and we are also going to be writing some text on it, and on the text we simply gonna print the confidence. So input text function, we give it the image and we mention the text that we want to print, and the text is given over here. And when you're printing the text of the image, where do you want the text to be exactly printed? We basically want it to be printed 10 coordinates above the box that we draw. So that part is handled over here. So once all this is done, we have made the predictions and drawn the boxes. We simply show the image using wait key. We simply pause so that it does not automatically exit. And we also have a usage line at top. You can simply copy this command. So you can directly paste it in the command line and run it. You'll have to just make sure that you have installed all the libraries. So now that I've run this line, I can see the predictions over here, and I can see it was able to capture most of the faces, even the faces on the side, which are, let's say, only partial views, right, and not exactly frontal face. This is where Haar Cascade normally does not do a good job, and even faces slightly at a depth and not well illuminated are also captured. It couldn't capture this face over here, but other than that, most of the faces it could. And this is all faces are based, if you zoom in slightly in the image as well, it mostly detected most of the images with around 90% accuracy, 90% confidence. So if you alter the confidence parameter, maybe it can detect more faces as well. So now that we have done this, we only have to make a few changes in the code to implement the same on a video. So we're just going to skip to that very quickly, and I'm only going to tell you the places where we have to make changes. So we're just going to be importing again a few libraries, and the same part is gonna be repeated. We're gonna get all the arguments first, and we create a named window over here. Again, we load a model, and the only different thing is we're gonna be starting a camera stream over here. So when I write cv2.video capture, it will start reading frames from my given camera. If you want to test it on any other video, you provide the URL of that particular video over here in video capture. That's the only difference. Now basically we want to run in an infinite loop because we want to keep capturing frames from the given camera source, and we read the camera frame using video.read or using bit.read. So the frame that it reads in the camera gets stored in frame. Now before doing all the stuff that we just did, we're gonna resize it to 400 because based on different camera objects or different video sources, you're gonna get different dimensions. So we're all gonna make it same and then do all the pre-processing that we just did. And when we resize it to 400, what it also does, it reduces computation. So if you're using a 720 pixel image or using a 1920 resolution image, then the computation is going to be more. So this is just going to save us some time, and the rest of the process remain the same. We get the height and width, pre-process the image, make model predictions, and then load and then basically loop over all the detection and draw boxes. Finally, we draw the frames as soon as we make the prediction, and once we exit the loop, we release the camera object and destroy all the windows using cv2.destroy all windows, right? So this releases the camera object from the memory. So that's the only difference, and I've given the usage line over here as well. So if I simply copy this and let me just paste it in my terminal, so I can see that it's running in real time. This is not computationally expensive because it's running in real time as I'm recording as well. So even if I turn around my head, it still works perfectly well, and Haar Cascade normally does not work well inside profiles. So that is something interesting, and that is why you can go for deep learning models like this as well. So that was all for this video. If you did like it, do like this video and subscribe to this channel as it motivates me to put out more videos like this. If there's anything else you want to see, do leave that in the comments, and I'll see you again in the next video.